With the Detroit Lions getting set to play the Seattle Seahawks later tonight for primetime football, they are absolutely excited for the chance to finally get past their demons and move forward against the Seattle Seahawks. And we're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, all Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. I'm going to tell you this right now, my friends. Again, obviously we know that the Lions are playing tonight against the Seattle Seahawks, and obviously we also know that this is a big game for the entire team of the Detroit Lions. But honestly, I think that the unit that is probably looking forward to this game more so than anyone is the defense. We have to understand just how much the defense over the last 2 years has been embarrassed by this Seattle Seahawks team. How much it has been absolutely just ridiculously shredded and torn apart by the Seattle Seahawks offense with Geno Smith. They've absolutely been just crucified. So for the Seattle Seahawks offense, they're probably coming into this game still thinking that, hey, we should be able to do much of what we've been able to do in the past. But I'm telling you this right now, the Detroit Lions defense, they're looking at this as an opportunity to really, stomp a mud hole into the Seattle Seahawks offense. I'm telling you this right now, that defense has had a lot of the same guys on it for the last couple of years. Obviously, there's been guys that have been added over the years, obviously, that weren't there in the first year, second year, whatever the case might be. But the guys that have been the leaders, the core of that group, they've been there. They know what they've got, what's happened against them, over the last 2 years playing the Seahawks. And I guarantee you this, their memory has not faded one iota. So when we take a look at this upcoming game for the Detroit Lions defense, they're definitely wanting to go with an all-out performance. I'm telling you this right now. I think that the Detroit Lions defense is going to be like, okay, you guys saw what we did against the Cardinals. You guys saw also what we did against the Bucs, and we played pretty damn good football. Pretty damn good defensive football. But I'm telling you this right now. I expect and believe that I think the Lions defense is just going to come out and try and do the best they've ever had or the best that we've ever seen. And here's the reason why I think this. It's not just from an emotional perspective. It also comes from a logical and a statistical perspective. Let's first and foremost understand the statistical importance of what is going on here as far as the Seattle Seahawks offense. I'm going to put some stats up on the screen. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I am going to focus on some things that are important from it. Take a look here. When you take a look at the Seattle Seahawks offense, you're going to notice that there are quite a lot of good numbers in here. They have the ability to convert decently on fourth down. They have the ability to convert in the red zone quite a bit. They have also proven that they can get a lot of first downs. They have a lot of yards, total points. It looks like they have a pretty solid offense. But there is one portion of that offensive statistical handout I just showed you that is truly important here. The difference between their passing yard total versus their rushing yard total, and not only that, the quality of what they're getting from those units. The Seattle Seahawks passing yard total is third most in the NFL, whereas compared, their rushing offense is 23rd. There is a mass difference between how well they're able to run the ball versus throw the ball. And it also shows in the averages that they're picking up in terms of both categories. For their passing yards, they're tied 9th in the NFL for net average per throw. For rushing yard average, they are ranked 26th. They're getting less than 4 yards a carry, folks. So pretty much what I'm trying to show here is this. This Seattle Seahawks offense, it is a one-dimensional offense. Now, I know Lions fans are going to say, okay, but let's understand something. Does adding K9, Kenneth Walker back into the equation or adding him back into the lineup change that? I'm going to say this. Does it change it a little bit? Yes, it does, because now he's back. He's playing. But let's understand something here. Kenneth Walker is not going to be 100%. Yeah, he's going to be playing. But I sincerely doubt he's going to be even close to 100%. And I further would expect that the majority of the handoffs are going to probably go to Zach Charbonnet rather than him because, again, he's still dealing with an oblique injury. And oblique injuries are painful. So, again, I don't really expect that, Kenneth Walker is going to make too much of an impact. And even if he does play a lot, you have to remember something. We still have one of the best rush defenses in the entirety of the NFL. So I'm feeling pretty good on that front as well. Now, like I just said, that is the Seattle Seahawks offense in a nutshell. One-dimensional offense, throws the ever-living crap out of the ball, not really runs the ball well, and they're somewhat decent when it comes to their conversion percentages on fourth down and red zone. But what about the fact of who they've been playing on defense? Again, I have brought this up all week. Because again, I'm telling you this, I really truly believe that the Seattle Seahawks are frauds. I really do. Because it's like you take a look at the teams they have played, the quarterbacks they've played, they have not been good. So the fact that the Seattle Seahawks are 3-0 should not surprise anybody. The fact that they're 3-0 should be expected because they've gone against really freaking weak teams and opponents. Whether it's because of injuries or whether it's because of the fact the team just overall stinks. But when you start taking a look at the defenses that the Seattle Seahawks offense has gone up against, it's going to, again, further reinforce what's going on here. First and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show in order the teams that the Seattle Seahawks have played this year in terms of defenses. So first we're going to see the Broncos, then the Patriots, and last the Dolphins. Here's what you're going to see when you take a look against the Broncos. Here's the stats as I put them up on the screen. What you're going to notice pretty much from that group is that the Broncos defense actually is somewhat pretty damn good. However, though, they are a little bit weak in run defense. Now, that was the game that Kenneth Walker played in, and then he got injured, which resulted in him leaving for the next 2 weeks. But again, you take a look at that Broncos defense, it's pretty damn solid. It's pretty damn good. So, okay. That is the Broncos defense. So then that means we now go to the Patriots. Here's the Patriots. Same statistical setup as I did for the Broncos. Take a look at their numbers. What you're going to notice for the Patriots defense is it's not necessarily terrible overall, but it does have also some things about it that are good. Pretty much the best way I can describe it, it's not good, but it's not bad either. But the one thing that they are definitely vulnerable in is the pass defense. Gee, that would make sense considering the fact that, they don't really have a whole lot on defense in comparison to most other teams. But yet again, the Seattle Seahawks only beat them by 3 points, and that was when they had to go to overtime. Rather interesting. So then, we've now looked at the Broncos, we've looked at the Patriots defense. Let's take a look now at the Dolphins defense. Take a look at these stats. Take a look at what you're going to see with these. When you take a look at the Dolphins numbers, what you're going to see is overall, it's actually not that bad of a defense as far as stats and rankings are concerned. But where that defense is particularly weak is where you have to have your defense be the strongest at, otherwise you're most likely going to get beat. And that's the red zone conversion percentage. Their red zone conversion percentage is god-awful. Which, again, considering the fact that the Dolphins didn't have their starting quarterback, lost their backup quarterback, and had to go to Tim Boyle. Oh, and then, by the way, they have a terrible red zone defense. Pretty much makes no sense. It pretty much is no wonder why the Dolphins lost 24-3. They got their asses spanked. So, okay, we've taken a look at all three of the teams' defenses that the Seahawks have played so far this year. And overall, for the most part, the defenses have been, I would say, decently solid. There's not a single defense that's really, super great, but there's not a single defense also that overall is really super bad. They pretty much are ranging anywhere from good to kind of in the average area. So far, the Seattle Seahawks have played, I would say, decent defenses overall. But we have taken a look at those three defenses. Now let's take a look at the Lions defense this year. here's the stats. And when you take a look at these stats, you're going to get a very clear picture right away. The best thing I can say about this defense is this defense pretty much is good all around. And it is really good in some really key areas. But I will say this, the one area where it could be better is the quantitative stats in terms of their passing defense. In that category, they're kind of average to below average. But in terms of the qualitative stats, they're the exact opposite. Their rush defense is also still suffocating. This defense has the ability to shut down opposing offenses. And for me to say that after the last 3 years, that ought to tell you guys how far that defense has come, how much growth it has gone through. And the one area I'm going to tell you right now that's probably the most impressive for me with this defense is the conversion percentage rates. If you take a look at how well they've been doing in conversion percentage, in terms of scoring drive conversion percentage, they're ranked 12th. In terms of third down conversion percentage, they're ranked 3rd. Fourth down conversion percentage, tied 3rd. And red zone percentage is tied 15th. That's pretty damn good. You're talking about a defense that makes it ridiculously hard to convert on downs, and then on top of that, it also is hard to try and score points on us. Take a look at the last 3 games we've played. 20 points, and then 13 points. That pretty much tells me that every single game we've played, we've been able to hold teams to 20 points or less. When you're thinking about it from that perspective, that's pretty damn good. So when we take a look at all of this data, all of these numbers, here's what the statistical analysis kind of breakdown comes out of this. First and foremost, the Seattle Seahawks offense at the current moment is, how should I put this, damn near a one-trick pony. Because if you think about it, of the team's 1,032 total offensive yards it has, 71.7%, almost 72% of their yards comes solely from their passing attack. Only 28% comes from the rushing component. Well, take a look in comparison to what the Lions are. The Lions have 1,199 yards. 59% of ours comes from the pass. 41% comes from our rushing component. Our offense is significantly better balanced compared to the Seahawks. And when your offense is that far out of balance, you already know that the offense is going to struggle because defenses are going to key on the fact that you're constantly throwing the ball and you're not really running it. And that's why I said, even if K9 does get a whole lot of reps, it's really not going to make much difference because, again, the Seahawks offensive line in terms of run blocking is crap. And on top of that, our defensive component in terms of stopping the run is still one of the best in the NFL. So it's like I said, offense of the Seattle Seahawks, one-trick pony. And again, I'm not trying to say that to sound smug. I'm literally showing the statistics here. The numbers don't lie. I know that there are people out there that want to tell me that I'm just, blowing a whole bunch of smoke and I'm just trying to sound like, a slappy Lions fan. But it's like, dude, I look at the numbers. You can't dispute the numbers. Because if that's the case, then everything that's happening on the field literally has no merit. It has no meaning. The numbers back up what I'm proving here. So first and foremost, the Seattle Seahawks, one-trick pony, like I said. Number 2 about the Seattle Seahawks, I will give them this. The fact that the Seattle Seahawks, being a one-trick pony, but yet still a top 10 team in terms of points, that is a flex for them. Because, again, when you're talking about the defenses that they've played, one thing you should have noticed is that all the defenses so far that they've faced are top 15, or rather I should say top half in the league in terms of scoring drive percentage. So it's like, hey, the defenses that they've been going up against, they may or may not be necessarily good or bad in the red zone defense, but in terms of stopping or limiting teams from scoring on them per drive, they're actually pretty good. So the fact that the Seahawks are top 10 while still being a one-dimensional offense, that is a flex for them. So I am trying to be fair here. Now, what I also will say, to also be fair to Lions fans and also to the fairness of the entire, video, is situationally, the Seattle Seahawks offense is not good at converting on third down. When you take a look at it, 2 of the 3 teams that they have faced so far are top 10 in third down conversion rate. The Lions are even better than that. They are ranked third with a 25.8% conversion rate. So, okay, so far they've already gone against two teams that are hard to convert on third down. The Lions are third in that category. So the Seattle Seahawks offense is going to have problems because they've already been having problems converting in key situations. So that's point number 3. And then on top of that, not only does the Seattle Seahawks offense have a less than stellar third down conversion percentage rate, they also have a huge weakness when it comes to penalties. The Seattle Seahawks so far have committed 23 penalties on offense this year. That is tied for 25th worst. What that tells me is that they are not very good at making sure that they don't have mistakes that shoot themselves in the foot and cost them yards. And let me tell you something. Monday night, Ford Field, it's going to be louder than all hell in there. There will be penalties because that offense is not going to be able to hear itself think most of the night. So that is yet another problem for the Seattle Seahawks. And then, like I said, I've talked about this before, but not in total, depth as I'm about to now. Geno Smith only has 3 passing touchdowns this year, which, considering the fact that the Seahawks have passed as much as they've had, the fact he only has 3 touchdowns is a really big anomaly. It's like you only have 3 passing touchdowns, but yet 72% of your total yard production comes from your passing game. How the hell does that make sense? Here's how it makes sense. The only reason that the Seattle Seahawks have those 3 passing touchdowns is because they all came off of blown coverages. You go and you check the highlight tapes for every single game that Seattle Seahawks have played and go looking for the touchdown pass from Geno Smith in every single game. It all comes on a deep pass where the guy is wide ass open because of a blown coverage. What that tells me is that the Seattle Seahawks, while they might be using the pass game to advance their offense, they're not necessarily beating defenses themselves. The defenses are beating themselves, and the Seattle Seahawks are just the beneficiaries of those blown coverages. So the way I look at it is a very simple one. If we know that's the case with this Seattle Seahawks offense, then the simple answer is, hey, make sure on the back end you're not out of position to potentially get blown off your spot. And that way you don't have a blown coverage. Because, again, most of Geno Smith's throws this year have been relatively short. He's not really testing down the field a whole lot. And again, that's because the offensive line is crap. So, in summary, when we take a look at this whole episode and we take a look at the defense and how they're excited for this game, I believe that the Detroit Lions defense will probably be in the best position it has ever been against the Seahawks since the start of the Campbell era. The Seattle Seahawks offense will likely continue to lean extremely heavy on the pass game, even with K9 in the game. And if they don't, again, like I said, I'm not too worried about it because we still have one of the best defensive run defenses out there. Run defenses out there. But again, I don't see how that's possible because I don't think K9's going to be 100%. So I think they're probably going to keep him on a snap count. And then, when you think about this, if that is truly the case and the offense does throw the ball more, our defense is going to be able to pick up on that, and then we're going to start to be able to key off on what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. And that's where we gain a key advantage. And furthermore, with the fact that our defensive secondary has been getting better every single week, and our defensive secondary has been providing very sticky coverage, I'm telling you this right now. This Lions defense is not going to be the feeble defense that we've seen over the last 2 years. I don't expect that for a damn minute. And the fact that we're getting a lot of guys back for this game, such as Aleem McNeil and Alex Anzalone, that right there is something that really ought to provide encouragement. Now, the fact that Branch is now doubtful to miss the game because of a stomach bug, that is a bit of a problem. But otherwise, we're going to have near full participation on our defense. And having Anzalone back, McNeil back, that's great. So for me, I just look at the defense right now, and they have all the motivation in the world to want to prove to everybody that, hey, we finally have, passed the test. We have finally shown how far we've come, how much we've grown, and we're ready to take on any offense that's out there. And I think being able to finally, seal the deal and close the book on the Seattle Seahawks will be kind of like the, kind of like the pinnacle of them getting to that point. And then they can just continue to go from there. But anyway, folks, I hope you guys all enjoyed this information. Hopefully you guys found it useful. And having said that, I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I want to highly encourage y'all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not had a chance to do so, again, please subscribe because it does help out the channel. But I also want to encourage y'all to make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you guys never miss any more content. I also want to make sure you guys please share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can. Because the more we can share it, the greater the channel can grow and spread, which brings in new viewership. And with that being said, I just want to say to everybody, whether you've been a long-time viewer or this is your first time viewing, I hope you all enjoyed the content. And I also hope that everybody out there has got something in their life that makes them happy and makes them smile. And with that, I just want to say God bless, my friends. I'm going to see you all later tonight with another episode before we do the live stream. But until that time, again, God bless, and I'll see you all later. Go Lions!
Thank you.